What's up YouTube, this is Raymond and I'll be talking about my first 10-day experience with the Xiaomi Redmi 1S, the company's bet for mid-range and budget phones. Now, the Redmi 1S is currently priced at 5,599 pesos. That's roughly $150 or something like that. And it's currently being in competition with the Moto G. They're releasing their Moto G line, the new Moto G line for 2014. And then for the Philippines, it's competing against the likes of the Cherry Mobile Flare 3 and the S3. Now, the phone, even though it packs a lot of power, 1.6 quad core, it still has some problems, a lot of issues. Primarily for the hardware, and then of course the software problems still exist. Now, this review is practically criticisms about the phone. I'm not gonna talk about positive things about the phone because it already has a lot of power, it can do a lot of things, but then you have to find that there are still problems in this budget phone. So first, let's talk about the screen. The screen is 720, 1280, it's pretty standard. It's very beautiful, but then when you go online, you'd see a lot of people cracking their screens. Now, why would that happen? Probably because the screen is quite soft. I don't really feel it as being sturdy as compared to the iPod Touch or iOS devices. And then the display is, although it's quite nice, it has problems with being washed out, and then the screen is very reflective. You're seeing my face already, or the camera face, whatever. Second hardware issue is the speakers. It's very soft as compared to playing music. Like when I'm gonna play music, the speakers are quite loud. However, once you're using the standard when you're using it to call people, it will not reach that level. So it's kind of disappointing. Next is, a lot of people ask if these things light up. They don't light up. It's kind of a reflector, like the ones you see in bikes or in the streets. These red markings there, they're just gonna reflect the light. So once you're indoors or you have an absence of light, that's not gonna reflect. And then another thing about the phone is it has quite of a poor proximity sensor. Like in most phones today, when you're calling and then you put the phone close to your ear, the screen's gonna go to sleep mode. However, once you put a little distance, the screen's supposed to automatically turn on. In this phone, it takes around 0.75 seconds as compared to most phones which automatically does it. So that's kind of disappointing. Other than that, I don't see any other hardware issues. So let's go to the software side. Okay, let's go on to the software issues of this phone. It's still using Android 4.3 Jelly Bean under its MIUI 5 ROM, and everyone's expecting an update to this phone pretty soon because you always want to have the most updated version of a phone. The first thing you notice is that once you're loading a screen page filled with apps, filled with widgets, you're going to notice a little frame drop, like from one screen when you're transitioning from one page to the other. Of course, you won't notice it here, but once you're holding the phone, when you're using it in standard conditions, you're gonna notice that drop. Next is the when using a camera for the Redmi 1S, it has a slight of a delay when recognizing auto white balance. Like when you're opening the camera app first, you're gonna notice a blue cool tone rather than automatically adjusting as compared to the Mi 3. Next is when you're opening apps from folders, there's a significant delay. Like, look, if you can notice it, there's like that 0.5, 0.25 second delay. Example for that. This is significant when you're loading a folder full of apps, so you have to organize it properly. Another is opening an app from, let's say, the home page. Let's say I want to go to the messaging. If it's not loaded in your multitasking, the phone won't automatically turn it on. So that's kind of annoying, like especially if you're in a rush. Delay. There you go. Quite a delay. Next is something, it's kind of rare. This only happened during last Saturday when I updated the phone to the more recent version. Is that when you're using the phone for quite a bit, the phone begins to crash its launcher. So that's kind of annoying. Well, I can't get it on right now, but you're gonna notice it when you're using it. And then you also have these random reboots for this phone, which is something you don't want to happen when you're outdoors. You don't want your phone to just randomly reboot, especially if you're on a phone, you're calling someone, or you're playing games or whatever. So I hope that's a software problem and that Xiaomi would resolve that. Apart from that, the last thing I don't like about the phone is, despite its commendable battery, I mean, it's commendable. I last charged this last Friday, and then it's already Sunday. Yeah, I charged this last Friday, and it's still alive, quite honestly. And I've been playing Dungeon Quest, let's say 1 hour a day, then using the phone for 2 hours, 1 hour. I'm calling someone, takes that long. But then, despite that, even if I put it into sleep for some few hours, but this is actually for 2 days already. It takes a long time for it to charge. On average, it's probably 4 hours, 3 hours, and that's kind of weird for a 2060 or 2000 at least milliamp hour battery. I mean, their charger's already charging it at 1 amp per hour. So what else do I need? Do I need to use a tablet charger? Of course, hopefully once KitKat or Android L starts rolling into this phone, there will be better battery management, RAM management for this phone. And well, once that happens, it can definitely compete to the likes of Moto G, Moto E, and other budget phones that's coming out in the next few months. Well, that's all about it. I'll be updating with video tests, photo tests, which I'll be using it for street photography, hopefully. And that's about it.